Hello, this is Compound Interest Stock Guy, and today in this video I'm going to be talking about Valens Groworks, VGW, and Aphria, APHA. So stay tuned. They're financials that were just updated yesterday, so stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. It helps my channel grow. I appreciate it. I also want to disclose I'm not a financial advisor, so do not buy or sell based on anything I talk about. Buy or sell after research, due diligence. Please give me thumbs up, leave a comment down below, share the video with friends and family. So in this video I'm going to start off with Valens Groworks, and then I'll get into Aphria's. I think that Valens Groworks are awesome. Look, I got a video on VGW metrics versus labs, and you can check out in my channel. Go to search and then do VGW if you haven't seen that video. And look, I brought this to the raw a while before these financials. I don't talk about my ASSS. I talk real. I had a video because I looked at the financials of Valens Groworks and I knew their profit margins were awesome. I knew this, and I knew it was only time before their net income was going to be greater than MediPharm Labs. And the proof is already in the pudding. If you're looking at this financials, okay, I'm going to break it down. Okay, they did 16.5 million in revenues in their last quarter for 3 months, and they did $12.8 million in profit margins. $12.8 million in profit margins. That's awesome. Do you know how high of a percentage in profit percentage? That's 77% profit margin. That's just industry leading pretty much. I mean, I don't know. I think Pure Sunfarms VFF has like 84% for their cannabis, but it's just industry leading. Okay, so let me break it down more. What else they did? They did EBITDA positive of $9.8 million, which is amazing. They did $5.9 million in net income. $5.9 million in net income, which is awesome, on 16.5 million. That's pretty much that there's like 30 to 33% of all the revenues they get is net income. So that's comparing, you know, with True Leave, which is doing like 35% is their net income, because they did 57.9 or something like that, and then they did $20 million in net income. So that means that like 35% of their revenues end up being their net income. So that is just an amazing number for the industry, and it's showing that this industry is profitable and is going to be humongous. So who's backing Valens Groworks? I've talked about this before, but I'll say it again. Thermo Scientific Research, and they are like $150 billion market cap company. They are on the S&P 500 listed companies, and they are dynamic, and they say great things about Valens facility. They just give it a thumbs up. So basically, you know, they got that backing from a huge company. So, and now they're working with, I think they got the Shoppers Drug Mart deal. Yeah, they got a Shoppers Drug Mart deal to make products for them, and they got a deal with the beverage maker for, you know, and they're dealing with all the biggest companies in the industry, like Canopy and T-God and some other ones like Harvest One and, you know, Hexo, I believe. And so their revenues are just gonna explode in the future. So if they're doing, say, like, based on what they're doing right now, right? So say they do $100 million in revenue. That's like a low forecast. In 2020, say they do $100 million. Then based on this revenues, like on 30 to 35% in net income, they could do about $30 million in net income for the whole year. So that's averaging about like $7.5 million per quarter. But I think they're gonna smash that, and they're probably gonna do about $150 to $200 million in revenue. And then based on that, they would do about $50 to $60 to $70 million in net income, which is amazing. So based where they're at right now, like if they did that next year, their market cap is around like 330 or something like that. Then based if they did like 50 million in net income, that's like a 7 PE. So I think that, you know, Valens Groworks is probably going to go to $7 to $10 Canadian for sure, and they could go even to $15 in 2020 potentially. I mean, I'm not saying they're going to do that. I think it's a more reasonable number to say like a $7 or $10. So that's kind of where the analysts are saying like $8.50 or $10. I think there's an analyst that's got $10 on Valens. So yeah, somewhere around that range, I think for sure in Canada, or like $5 to $8 USD. So I think buying at these levels is a pretty smart buy if you're not expecting to make money tomorrow. Now, yeah, so I mean those net income is awesome. So I mean, now look at it from like, say, in a couple years, like 2 or 3 years, when they start doing like 400 or 500 million and their profit margins stay the same, that they're doing like 30% net income of their revenues. Then say they're doing for like 500 million, then they're gonna do about like $150 million net income. So like based off like a 20 PE, based on that net income, then they'd be worth like $3 billion. So on a 20 PE, so you know that they're very well heading towards $25-30 in the next couple of years, in my honest opinion, based on where they're going. And you know, as long as they don't F up in any areas, I think they're gonna head that way. Now I can't go talking about them too much longer because I need to make this video shorter. I'm gonna pivot towards Aphria. So that was Valens Groworks VGW in Canada, and I'm not sure what they are in America. They may be VGWFF, or they may be some other ticker. I'm not sure. I'm gonna talk about Aphria. Now Aphria, I posted on Twitter. I thought they were gonna do $135 to $145 million in revenue with $30 to $35 million in cannabis sales. So they did. They were very. I was right on the money on their cannabis sales, which was like 30 million. So I mean, like, obviously I'm giving a vague number because I can't know like to the dollar exactly what they're gonna be, but I've been doing pretty bang on for a lot of these companies for their revenues. Now, what else did they do? And I also said in net loss, probably about 10 to 20 million. So their net loss, they didn't do a net loss. They had net income of, I think, $16 million. Okay, but I'm gonna break it down why I was kind of right and why I was also kind of wrong, and where these things are kind of like contradictory, or like they're a debating issue, is basically, okay, so TrueLeaf has EPS of 52 cents. Okay, so based on that, they should be like a 208 for the year on ×4. So based on their price right now, like they're basically running at like a 6 PE, right? So that's like stupidly low for a big like industry that's like running harder. So based on that, they should be running to like $50 and equal towards like a 25 PE, right? So that's where things are like a little bit off, right? So now you're talking about why their EPS is higher than their like net income is because that's based on inventory. Okay, so that's the same thing with Aphria. They didn't have like a net income based on their sales and revenue. It was based on adding like inventory, and they're setting it at a certain price. So they're putting a dollar figure on the price of their cannabis that they haven't sold yet. So there's no way that they can guarantee that they're going to get those dollars. Like for very well, they could be selling it for $1 or $2 cheaper per gram on some of their cannabis. So, you know, if you take that away, that they could be at a loss or like equal, but I mean, whatever the case, they did do a net income based on their inventory, right? So that is good. Like, their revenues are awesome, but they did a little bit less with their CC Pharma for their distribution, and so, but that's good for them. I mean, 128, and then for just to say another thing is, I was pretty much bang on as far as my for VGW. I was expecting $2 to $5 million in net income, and they beat my optimistic estimates. They did 5.9 million in net income. So, I mean, that's like I put out these numbers on Twitter. If you follow me on Twitter, I put out these numbers. I'm not saying like back from the past. I look into what I think based on like financials, and I'm reviewing the financials from last quarters, and that's how I make a number. These are just gut feelings and stuff like that, but I've been pretty damn accurate. Now, with Aphria going forward, I think what's great about them is they have a good cash position. So they have like $450 million, and then they have another like $150 million or so in restricted cash. So they're not gonna go bankrupt any day. But I mean, I'd like to see their revenues go up a little more in cannabis sales. They have a lot lower market share than Aurora and Canopy, and but I mean they're doing better than Tilray and some other companies. So I mean they got that going. Supreme's doing pretty good somewhere. Like I don't know where they're selling all their product, but yeah, I mean they're really ramping up. Like they did almost $20 million in cannabis sales last quarter. So yeah, that's all I got as far as I'm just want to summarize Valens Groworks, their financials from this quarter, and then Aphria's financials for this quarter. These are just my opinions. Do not buy or sell. Thanks for watching this video. Keep compounding your info and listening to my lingo. And peace. I'm out.